Before we begin, please be aware that today's episode includes discussion of grief and the loss of a family member. And this topic may be distressing for some listeners, so please take care while listening. And if you need support, please contact Lifeline on 13 11 14. Today's guest on the podcast is the only Nudgee Old Boy to walk out on the MCG for the Boxing Day test and score a century. That's right, he's in fact a dual international playing cricket for Australia and for Italy. And today he's going to share insights on what current students can do to find their passion. I'm so excited. Our guest today is the one and only Joe Burns. All right, Joe, it's an experience that most can only dream about, but what is it like to walk out at the MCG on Boxing Day for the Boxing Day test representing Australia?
Wes, I get asked that question a lot, and look, my memory is hazy of the actual day and being out there on the field. But I remember in the lead up, obviously Boxing Day, you've got Christmas and that time in Melbourne, so it's very exciting. And at the MCG, I went out to bat about 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Boxing Day. So I was batting 6 for Australia. The viewing box, you're actually a level up. So you walk through the crowd out onto the field to bat. So I certainly remember the wicket falling, chucking my helmet on, walking through the crowd. And to be honest, half of me was super excited and half of me was probably just nervous around the unknown. You know, you're walking onto this stage. There's 85,000 people. We're playing against India. Massive occasion, a test match that I've watched every year growing up as a kid. So it's a very surreal feeling. But once you cross the rope, you really do feel at home. I think cricketers, performers, you prepare for that moment. And you almost go into autopilot once you get onto the field. And that's why I don't think I've got much memory of actually playing the game that day. I certainly remember receiving my Baggy Green and sitting around waiting. That's what you don't prepare for. But yeah, it's an amazing experience. I think I was 24, 25 years old. You look back now and you realise how young you were and how naive you were. I think I'd be a lot more nervous now at 35 years old and knowing what you're exposing yourself to, the sheer magnitude of people that are watching. So great experience as a young man. Don't know if I was ready or not. I don't think you can ever be ready for the unknown moments like that, but super experience, something I'm really grateful for. And yeah, it's still, even now, it's still very surreal to think about.
How many runs did you hit that day on your MCG Boxing Day test debut?
I think I made 9 or 13.
You don't remember?
No,
My goodness, people dream about playing at the MCG on Boxing Day, and you're for you it's a haze. It's a little hazy. I
was just happy to get off the mark that day, to be honest.
You weren't hanging out with Merv Hughes the night before, were you? Or anything like that? No, congratulations! It's an amazing feat. Now I want to play a little bit of a game with you, test your memory. And I know your memory is not necessarily that great. You've confided to me in that already, Joe. All right. There's 7 on my list. I've been told there's 8, but I've been able to find 7 names of Nudgee Old Boys who have gone on to represent Australia in the Australian cricket team. You're one of them. Amazing. Can you name the other Nudgee boys who have played cricket for Australia?
Nathan Horrocks.
Correct.
Nathan McSweeney.
Yes.
Mitchell Swepson.
Yes.
Chris Lynn.
Yes. Chris Lynn, around your time, last name Nash. There you go. I've given it out. It's Brendan Nash, right?
Brendan Nash.
And there's one other from the past, 1998 senior, I believe it was, or maybe it was 98 that he represented, Jimmy Marr.
Jimmy Marr.
Now, I've got to ask the question, the baggy green cap, it's such an iconic piece of sporting, it's such a trophy on its own. I got to ask you where you keep it. Is it something you keep in the sock drawer, or is it something that's in a trophy cabinet at home? Where's the baggy cap living these days?
Yeah, I've been moving house a few times lately, so it's actually in a box somewhere in a downstairs bedroom. But before that, I certainly had in a trophy case. I actually I got it out a lot, and I do enjoy looking at it, and simply from the fact of just respecting the past and what it represents. And to that piece I was saying about it being surreal, it kind of makes it a little bit real for me, and it's a nice appreciation piece. As a kid, you grow up idolising the Baggy Green, and the chance to have one in your house, and I guess it reminds you of your responsibilities as an Australian cricketer and the example that you want to set to, I guess, carry on that Baggy Green legacy. It's also a good reminder of hard work and everything that you put into it. I guess that's the reward. But yeah, again, it is a very surreal thing to have at home, and you're constantly pinching yourself that you're holding in your hands.
Mate, you are the only one in our research that was done by the college, and thank you very much for supplying it through. You're the only Nudgee Old Boy who's gone out into the MCG Boxing Day test and hit a century. So we applaud you. That's an amazing feat, and you're a one-of-a-kind, Joe. It's sensational.
Thank you, Wes. I've actually got mixed memories of boxing. No, I think I've had a Boxing Day debut. The next year I made that 100. I think it was against the West Indies. And then the next 2 Boxing Days after that, I actually got ducks. One of them was a golden duck. So I'm about 50% on Boxing Days. 2 from 4 are good memories. But they're great occasions. Look, even when you get a golden duck, I think against New Zealand, the roar I got when I got a golden duck first ball of the test match was twice as loud as the roar I got when I got 100. So it's just the occasion, and especially, the crowd in Melbourne, they get right into their sport. So it's a very exciting day.
So let's talk a little bit when you are out there batting and you're representing Australia, which is, I assume, a childhood dream, and a lot of hard work's gone into it. What's the secret to performing under the intensity of a cricket match? When you step out to bat, what do you do to make sure you're ready for that moment?
Yeah, for me, I think anything you do, but in particular when you're trying to perform, and there's a lot of emotion involved in performance, and you're under a lot of scrutiny, pressure, you've got pressure on yourself, the ups and downs of when you go well, it's quite euphoric, and when you go bad, it's quite stressful. I think it's important to focus on your preparation. For me, you want to take the emotion out of it. When you're in that zone, you want to follow a really clear process in your mind. You don't want to get caught up in all the different emotions going around. And that's one of the challenges of performing in front of big crowds, big moments in series on the world stage with a lot of people around the world watching. So for me, it was always about preparation. I think about halfway through my career, I stopped judging how I was batting on how many runs I was making. I really pulled it back a level to the process of how I was going about things. I knew that there's so many uncontrollables in performance that you can do everything well and not perform, and there's other days where you make a lot of mistakes and do perform. It's just the nature of playing cricket. But I think it was a really eye-opening lesson that to knuckle down on your preparation, to go through all the different scenarios that you're going to be faced out in the middle, to try and replicate how you want to play the game. You want to replicate performing under pressure. All the key, characteristics that you need in your game to perform, you want to expose yourself to in your prep. And then by the time you get out there and you're performing, you're very much in autopilot. You don't want to be thinking or doubting or questioning what you're doing. You want to know that you're ready for that moment. I think if your preparation is really good and you go into the game knowing that you're ready to go and you don't perform, you can walk away satisfied that you put your best foot forward. It's the times where you go into things a little bit underdone on your prep, or you're questioning whether you could have done more and you don't perform. They're the moments that you walk away from and you really regret. And I think that's a great lesson I've found for everything I do in life. That I want to prepare for every moment as best I can. What will be, will be. There's so much uncontrollable in life, in everything we do, that if you get caught up in the results of things, it's very stressful and it's not enjoyable. If you focus on your preparation and you enjoy those moments, you enjoy the crowd, you enjoy the opportunity to play for your country, and people do it in other industries and other areas of their life, you walk away at the end and it's an enjoyable experience, and that's all you can really ask for.
I agree. And I think of what I do, it's all about the preparation. You'll spend months preparing for a film shoot or a television shoot. And when you're there in the moment, you want to enjoy it because that's where the magic happens in my world. And I'm sure just like you're practicing your stroke, your technique, your stance. And then when you're out there, it's the strokes and how to play them, but you want to be able to enjoy them. And I think if you find that relaxation and that enjoyment of what you're doing, you probably are performing at your peak. But you need that groundwork. That preparation has to be done, and it probably doesn't matter what industry you're in. If you do the preparation, then when you go to execute, there should be a level of enjoyment to it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think the beauty about cricket is that the moments I actually do remember of being out on the ground, and it's what keeps bringing you back to wanting to get there, is when you've prepared for a certain bowler. You know what his strengths are. You know what his weaknesses are. You know what your strengths are, weaknesses are. You set yourself up for a certain ball, and you hit it out the middle of your bat. You see it going through a gap in the field, and there's a split second where you're the only person in the world that knows that you've executed in that moment based on all your preparation, and it's going to go for four. And there's this
Yes.
moment of silence where you're just by yourself out there, and then the roar of the crowd just hits you like a wave. I like I said, I don't remember much when I'm playing the games, but I remember those moments of pure satisfaction. And that's what wants you to keep getting back out there and getting in front of the crowds for those sorts of moments.
I love that. It's almost cliche, living for the moment. It
Absolutely.
might be a kiss, a win, but for you, it's that split second where you've hit that shot and before the rest of the world, the whole audience, before anyone knows that it's a perfect shot. And what an amazing moment to live for. Thanks for sharing that, Joe. That's awesome. Now, what people might not necessarily know about you is that you're actually a dual international, not just a representative for Australia, but you also represent Italy. Like, tell us a little bit about this current endeavor that you're on, and sort of how it feels like this sort of could be the real life version of Cool Runnings
Yeah,
that you're living.
it definitely does feel like Cool Runnings. Look, the Italian cricket setup, it's basically my mum's side of my family is Italian. So I've always had an Italian passport. I've always had an affiliation to Italy. And it's just the timing was right for me to take on a new challenge. And, talking about legacy, when you play for Australia, there's so much history that you're playing in the moment, respecting the past and carrying on the past traditions. With Italy, it's very much a blank canvas, and you're trying to shape the future. We're trying to go to a World Cup for the first time. We're trying to increase funding from the ICC to develop local cricket. All these new, experiences are very exciting. It gets me out of the bed in the morning very excited to put my time and energy into it. And look, I'm very confident. We've got World Cup qualifiers coming up in about a month's time. I'm very confident that Italy is going to qualify out of Europe. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but look, it's going to be a great experience. And the Cool Running side, we've got professional cricketers all over the world. Basically, everyone's grandparents that left Italy after World War II dispersed around the world. So there are grandchildren everywhere. But I love the story that it's like we're going down to Sicily and we're finding a guy spinning a pizza, and we go, gee, that he would make a good leg spinner. We'll get him in the team.
I love that.
But look, I certainly think that the world, especially Australians, have shown us a lot of support. I think they love an underdog story. So yeah, it's been great to feel the support of the cricket family around the world and trying to encourage us on our journey to get there.
The Italian cricket team going to the World Cup. It's like the Jamaican bobsled team. I'm really excited in 10 years' time when Timothy Chalamet plays your life story in a biopic, and and he's representing Italy at the Cricket World Cup. What's the end goal? Is it to make that World Cup? Is that sort of, you don't think a lot about Italian cricket, but what would it mean for you to help get that nation into the Cricket World Cup?
Yeah, for me, in everything you do, it's about the impact you can have on the people around you. I think they're the most satisfying moments. We play team sports. yes, there's an individual side to what we do, but when you have shared experiences, they're the moments that you look back most on fondly when you achieve things as a collective. And um, for me,
So,
it would leave the game in a better place in Italy. You know, we were there last year. We won a tournament. You get some funding, and they build some cricket nets, and there's juniors coming through the system. And if we qualify for the World Cup, we get a lot more funding for the country. Domestically, it grows the game, and it leaves the game in a better place. And that's the impact you can have on the people around you. So, yeah, it would mean a lot. I think it would mean a lot to my family as well. Obviously, being Italian. And it's just a cool experience. I think you want to try your hand at a few different things. I was probably a little bit stale. I finished up playing for Australia. I felt like I played at such a high level that I needed a new challenge just to keep me coming back to the game and to turn up to training. And I think it's exactly what I needed at this time of my life, and really appreciative for the opportunity. The responsibility of captaining the team as well, and trying to set up a program and a group of people that can take the team forward. I keep saying to everyone, I don't want to captain for long. I want someone else to captain. I want to pass on what I've got. I want to semi-retire and allow them to take the team forward. That's my goal. So the sooner that happens, I can walk away as a really happy Italian cricketer.
I assume, do you live in Italy now? Like, or do you just go back and forward?
No, still Brisbane-based. I think the nature of cricket these days is that you have a home base somewhere and you just fly off to different tournaments around the world, and international cricket's very much like that as well. So flying into Italy for a training camp in June. We'll play in July.
Where does the training camp happen in Italy?
It's in Rome. So fortunately, cricket's now in the Olympic. It's under the Olympic Commission. So we train at the Olympic facilities, basically like the AIS in Italy. We get the red carpet. We get breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We get treated like the Italian soccer team. So it's always great going to Rome. And look, it's a cool city to go to in the middle of June, July. So I know the guys coming from Australia, England, South Africa, New Zealand. We very much enjoy coming together as a group. And then we play in Holland, basically the European Championships. So if we come in the top two in that, we'll qualify. So after that, I'll fly on to another comp, and the cricket world, the cricket calendar keeps coming at you thick and fast.
Now, Joe, I understand the jersey number that you wear in Italy is number 85. Can you share a little with our Nudgee community the meaning behind your choice to have number 85 as your Italian jersey number?
Yeah, so I was always number 15 for Queensland and for Australia. My brother unfortunately passed away February last year, so I think he would be the first one to have admitted that he wasn't a great cricketer, but he loved playing cricket. He loved the team side. I have so many great memories of playing cricket with him in the front yards, where I learnt my love for the game. He was number 85. It's also his birth year, but I think he just liked the number 85 for the local team he played for. A lot of the guys in that cricket team I have a really strong connection with, in particular now. And it just seemed a nice reminder for me of why I play the game. Linking it back to when we were kids, why he played the game, and our connection to our family in Italy, and the way the Italian community, I guess, supported me and my family. I love pulling on the number 85 for Italy. It means so much to me. But yeah, it's very special.
Did your brother play cricket when he was at Nudgee during his time?
Yeah, he did. And I think a lot of his best friends were through the game of cricket. I know that from looking back at yearbooks. Obviously, like you see 13, 14, 15, 16s. And there's familiar faces in there, people that, he was friends with for a lifetime. And it's a nice, connected piece, what this game provides us as human beings, the friendships it makes. It's a really powerful, I guess, vehicle in the life that we're on.
Absolutely. And what was his superpower on the field? Was he a would he get you on a fast bowl every now and again, or was he a great batsman like yourself?
He was actually very good spin bowler as a kid growing up when we were in the front yard. But I think our wicket in the front yard was very spin friendly. I don't think there was much grass, so it spun a lot. I played a game with him one time. I always used to laugh at him about. We opened the batting together, and he got out first ball. I made him face first ball because I was so scared about getting out first ball. So my brother is just this like warehouse cricket, and I was playing cricket for Australia, and I said, mate, you've got it. You're the big brother. He just nicked off first ball. I couldn't stop laughing at him.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, mate, what an amazing legacy that you're wearing your brother's jersey. You're wearing his number on your jersey on this endeavor that you're taking on in Italy. I take my hat off to you and respect to you and your family, and the whole Nudgee community wishes you the best with that endeavor. And we're all behind you and the Italian team, obviously. Um, nice segue into Nudgee. Tell me a little bit about your time at the school. What do you remember from your time at the college?
Yeah, a lot of great experiences. I think I think Nudgee's quite unique. It's obviously an all boys school with borders, and at the time when I was going through, rugby was the big sport. It's obviously changed a lot over the last 20 years, but I think the values it teaches you is a really I guess protective, looking after each other, getting through the good and bad times together as a group. Got a lot of young men that come from regional areas around Queensland and Australia that come on board, and they rely on the people around them. I think the boarding culture is really strong in the student life. And I think you realise that once you leave the school, and you realise how close knit everyone was and the connections that you've made. And I think those values set you up really well for your future endeavours. So my memories are playing a lot of sport, handball at lunchtime. Just great memories with your friends.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. And mate, you're one of the few though that have gone from the school to reach elite heights in sport. What advice do you have to other, young Nudgee students that are listening that might be cricketers or might be chasing their own passions, or maybe they're not sure what they are yet, but they're listening to this podcast thinking, gee, how do I achieve, my potential when I leave school? What sort of advice would you give to the current students?
Yeah, my advice to students at Nudgee, and Nudgee's got so many avenues to chase your passions, but just to throw yourself into everything you possibly can, whether it be rugby, cricket, basketball, swimming, debating, esports, chess. Try your hand at everything. Figure out what you're passionate about, and the connections that you make in all those different avenues of life. You never know when you're going to fall back on them or when you're going to lean on them in future. Some of the connections I've got, through the different groups I was involved with at school. But I'm a big believer for anyone that's successful in life, they're very dedicated to what they do. They sacrifice a lot, and they're very committed to their art. It's a lot easier to be dedicated, committed, and to sacrifice when you've got a passion for what you do. So figure out what your passions are. If it means that you go to debating or you go to basketball and it's not for you, rule it out. That's fine. But in your formative years as Nudgee students, just throw yourself into Nudgee life. I can't remember any student I've ever met that regrets not giving something a go at Nudgee. So, sign up for everything. And by the time you get to the end of year 12, you'll be a really well-rounded student.
Great advice. I couldn't agree more. In fact, I always say to everyone, when opportunities come up, say yes, because you never know when you walk through that door what it might lead to. So anyone listening, take all those opportunities, say yes. And speaking of Nudgee students, what's really exciting about this season on the podcast, Joe, is we've opened up the chance for current Nudgee students to ask our guests a question. And Joe, I'm very excited. Here's our first question for you, sir. It's coming up right now.
Hi, my name's Will, and I'm a really big fan of you, Joe. I play cricket for Nudgee and for my club, Bulimba Cricket. I have a question for you. What's your favourite memory so far of cricket?
Yeah, good question. My favourite memory of cricket, I touched on it before, whenever you've got a shared experience as a team. So winning competitions is always fun. when we went to the number one test team in the world as a group, it was a huge goal of ours, and to share that with the 10 other guys in the team, winning Sheffield Shields, winning Big Bashes. Yes, it's a somewhat individual sport performance-wise, but when you can share the good moments with your teammates, they're my best memories from the game.
I think we have a second question coming up. Let's run that as well for you, Joe.
What's up, Joe? My name's Jack. I think you're awesome at cricket, and just like Scozzy, I'm a huge fan. Now to the questions. Who inspires you the most in sport or life?
Jack, good question. I think inspiration-wise, I actually take inspiration from not just people in cricket, but all different industries. I like to look at people who are successful in their different fields. Eminem in music, for some reason, I've looked a lot into him. Serena Williams in tennis. I don't know why. I've just, I get caught on Google researching these people, their upbringings and their how they went about getting to the top of their fields. In cricket, inspired by people that have gone through a little bit of adversity in the game and been able to bounce back. I think that's a really strong quality in people, resilience, because I think you need to be resilient in life. Unfortunately, there's a lot of bad days that we all have to go through. So how you can develop your resilience is really important. So I draw inspiration from a lot of different people. It's hard to narrow it down to one, but I'd recommend trying to find someone in the industry that you're keen on, and the person at the top of the industry. Learn about their background, how they got into it, and their upbringing. And I'm sure that you'll find it very inspirational.
Well, Joe, you're an absolute Nudgee legend, one of the few that have gone on to represent our country in our nation's game, which of course is cricket. Thank you so much for joining the podcast. I'm so excited to follow your career, and I'd love nothing more than to see Italy make the Cricket World Cup. But even imagine Italy versus Australia, Joe Burns versus his old teammates on that pitch in a World Cup match. It's something I think a lot of Australians and a lot of Nudgee boys would be salivating to see. So thank you for joining us. And you're a big part of the Nudgee community and family. So we really appreciate you taking out the time to join us on the podcast.
Thank you, Wes. Thanks for having me. Always a great experience.
What a great episode, and such a privilege to have Joe open up about his brother for the first time in such depth and with so much heart. Joe reflects humbly on his career for Australia and is clearly passionate about the future that he can drive for the game in Italy. So watch this space. Now, speaking of watch this space, if you enjoyed the episode and the series, well, be sure to check out all of the episodes from our Alma Mater series and watch this space for more to come.